find my Google Drive here with my notes. For those of you joining in, I'm Ryan Smeltz, the bearded veteran. The primary focus is CrossFit. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background, and maybe some why behind the what.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Ryan and I have been friends for a little while. We worked together in the Army for 17 years. I'm an active duty soldier stationed in Fort Drum. My name is Ozzy Maldonado. I'm also a CrossFit Level 2 trainer. I've been doing CrossFit since about 2006, and I coach CrossFit at Star Spangled CrossFit in Watertown, New York. And obviously, I use CrossFit methodology in training soldiers in my unit. Since I'm the first sergeant, I have the luxury of being able to implement those things into fitness in the Army.
Nice. That's fantastic, man. So Ozzy, I'm gonna ask you some questions at the end eventually, but just to give us a little heads up going into this, you've been in the Army for 17 years. Are you married? You got kids?
Yes, I'm married and I have two beautiful children, a boy and a girl. And my wife is a high school teacher in Gouverneur, New York, which is about 30 minutes away from Fort Drum, New York.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool, man. I'm always interested to talk to soldiers who have family because we all know that that's definitely a team operation there. You got the service member, the family that supports them and everything. So that's really cool to hear about stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I can't thank my wife enough. She's absolutely amazing holding together the family and stuff. And you know the deal. We've deployed a bunch of times. Um, she holds the family together.
Awesome. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to set a few expectations with our audience here and apparently turn up my brightness there. For our audience, anyone that comes in, please leave your comments and questions below. This is definitely a networking style event. It's really important to me to bridge that information gap. The Bearded Veteran is centered around things that I didn't know when I was going into the military and getting out of the military as well. And that's basically what brought First Sergeant Maldonado on here is I asked that question and he said CrossFit. So I'm going to ask him some questions I have specifically outlined. If you would, go ahead and leave your questions in the comments section below. Um, I'm going to do my best to keep up, but Ozzy, if you see one pop up, go ahead and grab it, answer the question. And then I'm going to take this recording since YouTube wasn't cooperating and definitely piece it together. And we're going to have one for everyone to watch at whatever time is most convenient for them. So basically getting into the meat of the topic, Ozzy, I'm pretty excited about this because I finally got drug into a gym membership. And I haven't paid for one in ever because they were free in the Army. So I'm paying for my first gym membership, and they have CrossFit sections and divisions and stuff like that. So the first thing I'm starting off with is why is it called CrossFit, and what is CrossFit all about?
So the name CrossFit is derived obviously from cross training and fitness. That's a copyrighted name that Coach Greg Glassman put together and chose back in 1992. I think they fully went incorporated, but he was doing the methodology or developing the methodology since like 1974. So the short version of the story, anybody who's interested in the history of how CrossFit was developed can read a book called Learning to Breathe Fire, where it tells the story of Greg Glassman and kind of the science behind it all. But the short version of the story is that Greg Glassman was a NCAA gymnast, and so in preparation for his ring routines, he would develop ways to work out that were different than normal. You know, back in the day, a lot of gyms, they were very focused on looking aesthetic, bodybuilding, that kind of thing, or they were focused on being really strong, right? But a gymnast is kind of a little bit different. A gymnast is an athlete who has to mix both being strong, you know, and he's got to be athletic, he's got to be balanced, he's got to have a lot of skills that, you know, just doing curls won't get him. And so Coach Glassman kind of realized that a long time ago and developed the methodology that we call today CrossFit.
Nice. That's awesome. You talking there a little bit about the background and stuff kind of reminded me of when we went through combatives and looking at the history of that. So that's pretty cool how it came around. I personally didn't know that it has been around that long.
Interestingly, yeah. So interestingly, if you read that book that I'm talking about, Learning to Breathe Fire, you're going to find out that the history of CrossFit grows up in two communities. It grew up in the military community and the MMA fighting community. So actually, Coach Glassman, famous story, he used to be a personal trainer in Gold's Gym back when like Jack LaLanne and Lou Ferrigno and these people were working there. And
Okay.
he left because he kind of, the business model of Gold's Gym made him upset. Basically, you know, their business model is they sign up as many people as possible, and they really like when people don't show up to the gym, right? So if you don't show up to the gym and use their equipment and dirty towels and stuff like that, but you're paying a gym membership on a contract for over a year, they love you. You make your New Year's resolution, you show up once or twice to the gym, and then you don't come back. They love you for that. And Coach Glassman famously went into the manager's office and says, "Hey man, what's that box of index cards that you got over there?" He says, "You know, these are my best customers." He told Coach Glassman, he said, "Your customers, they come in here and they're throwing the weights around and they're in here every day and they're dirtying up the equipment." He said, "But my customers are the ones that don't show up but keep on paying." And that was enough for him. He quit. And there's a famous mixed martial artist named BJ Penn who rented out half of his gym to Coach Glassman if he would train some of his mixed martial artists. And famously, Coach Glassman's first CrossFit gym was rented out space in the back of BJ Penn's gym. And then he was training Navy SEALs and SWAT officers in California, and the rest is history. Law enforcement, military personnel, and guys in mixed martial arts all took it, and it became what it is today.
Okay. That's cool, man. I didn't know all that. I've never even heard of Coach Glassman before. And you said the name of the book is Learning to Breathe Fire?
That's correct.
Okay. Cool. So you covered a little bit about the history of CrossFit, what it is, how it all started. So this is a really exciting one for me. I want to know, what benefits does CrossFit offer when done properly? And you said that you do it with your soldiers as well. So what are maybe some benefits that you've seen that maybe you didn't know about when you first started the program, doing it with a group of that size?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I say that, I want to tell a little story about myself and how I got into CrossFit.
Okay.
Because it kind of gives you really the crux of that. So, you know, I'm kind of a big boy. When I first joined the Army, I met the recruiter. I said, "Hey, man, I want to join the Army." He said, "No problem. Step on this scale." Right? So I've always been a big boy. And in high school, I ran cross country and track. So the solution to my fitness problems all my life was running. And I learned once that you can't outrun a bad diet. I ran the Big D Dallas Marathon. I think it was back in like 2006 or 7. And when I got done with that marathon, I was training up for it. I was running 70 miles a week, and I ran that marathon. And there's a picture of me at the finish line of that marathon, and I have a pain face on like you wouldn't believe, right? And that day, I knew that I never wanted to run another mile unless I was ordered to. So I went around and, you know, I saw some friends of mine. We have some common friends, someone you know, like Andrew Hagerman and these guys. I walked up to them and I said, look, man, I can't run anymore. You guys are fit. What are you doing? And they were like, hey, come to the gym with me. And they started teaching me CrossFit. I didn't know that I was getting into CrossFit. But I was an older athlete, a heavier athlete that struggled, you know, just running and doing basic fitness. And what I was able to get out of CrossFit is that even with the injuries that I had, you know, 2 bad ankles, I had a bad hip and a bad shoulder, I was heavy, I'm older, I was able to find fitness, gain movement. And, you know, objectively in the Army, you know, we use a physical fitness test with numbers and math. You can see those numbers going up as you go. And additionally, we might talk about a little later, CrossFit itself, everything we do is observable, measurable, repeatable. We write and log everything, and we are doing science so that we can mathematically see our health and fitness improve. And so that's kind of how I got into CrossFit, and I benefited from CrossFit because I'm a 38-year-old athlete, and I have to run, you know, as a first sergeant, I have to run every day with 18-year-old kids, and you know, they have energy for days, and I can outwork them out there on the roads.
There you go. I like that. That's awesome, man. So basically, it's the way I always describe it, and something I kind of hear you saying is it's a fitness, it's a style of fitness that allows for practical application. And I think being able to measure your progress is super important as well, because you have the physical fitness test. So if it was something that you weren't able to do that with, then you probably yourself wouldn't be involved in it, because there's no way
Right.
to set your goal. There's no way to know if you've met said goal. So that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this next one is somewhat of an arbitrary question, and I just want to make sure I keep the conversation going because I'm really excited to talk to you about this. But uh, why work out at all?
Okay. So, you know, ideally, biologically, we were designed to, you know, go out there and hunt for our food and work and do things in order to survive, right? It's the year 2018, and our food comes in a package, and we put it in a microwave, and it comes out perfectly done. So we're not doing a lot of the work that we used to do, that we were biologically evolved to do. And so we have to supplement some of that movement with exercise. But more importantly, the reason we need to exercise is because our longevity, you know, they've done tons of medical studies that if, you know, if you're working out and you're exercising a certain amount every day, you're going to live longer. And right now in America specifically, we have a lot of chronic diseases out there that are preventable, that people just don't know that, you know, not to get into crazy conspiracy theories, but there's sugar in everything that we eat, right? I mean, even if
Right.
you're trying to eat quote unquote clean, you go to the store and you buy in clean options, and there's sugar in almost everything that you find. And so you're fighting a battle where the people in the store who are making our food are putting sugar in everything. Your jobs and your lifestyles are sedentary, as compared biologically to our ancestors, and you are fighting a losing battle. So if you don't exercise and you don't, you know, consciously pay attention to what you're eating, you're going to lose the game. And we're talking about life.
Absolutely. I like that, the game of life. uh, I just wanted to hear your take on it. One of my favorite, I read an article on it was either Business Insider or Task and Purpose, something like that, and it was talking about 5 things successful people do. And I believe the first one was workout, and there was a picture of President Obama doing a push-up, or at least in the front lean and rest. And that's what I think about when I think of why should I work out, besides the fact that now I'm paying a gym membership. So I don't want that money to go
Yeah,
to waste.
there's definitely studies that show that people who work out are psychologically healthier, they're happier, and just runners talk about the runner's high. You can get the same benefits neurologically from any other kind of exercise. And now let me be clear too that when it comes to the science of health, it doesn't matter if you're doing Zumba or if you're doing Pilates or if you're dancing. As long as you're eating right and you're active, man, that's better than absolutely nothing. There's a lot of people out there who believe that they're like, this is the way, there's only one way, and all this stuff. And if anybody tells you that they know the way, or that their way is the only way, they're lying to you. Okay? I'm not here to tell anybody that CrossFit is the only way. In fact, what's interesting about CrossFit is that CrossFit isn't a way. It's a combination of ways. CrossFit is like mixed martial arts. In martial arts, we know that a guy fighting in a cage, he might learn a little bit of Taekwondo over there. He might learn a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu over here. He might have some other disciplines, individual specialized sports that he trained in. And he's a better fighter if he can mix all of those things and get as many tools in his bag as possible. Fitness is the same way. So, we didn't invent running in CrossFit. Running was around, the Greeks were doing it thousands of years ago. We didn't invent weightlifting. Weightlifting was around long before us. Gymnastics was around long before us. All we did is we combined those things and we said, okay, why don't you lift that barbell and then do some push-ups and run over there? And if you do those things in combination and you're doing it with a little bit of math and science along with it, you're going to get an optimized workout that's specific to you. And your average power output will lead directly to your physical health. All your biological markers that scientists like to use to train the most elite athletes. We can take a 90-year-old grandmother, and check her blood pressure and see how she's performing. Your 90-year-old grandmother has the same needs as an 18-year-old soldier. She has to bend down and pick up her purse when she puts it down to put her keys in the door. A soldier has to be able to get down and pick up his rucksack and move out. Both of those movement patterns are the same. The difference of what they need varies in degree. Obviously, our 90-year-old grandmother is not going to lift up really, really heavy weights because her bone density changes. And so those are the kinds of things that a CrossFit coach then applies, is that he takes the math and the science of what you're doing and scales it to meet your fitness level and your needs. And that's why, CrossFit gives people what they need. Not that it's the only way, but it's a way where somebody can teach you how to find fitness and health.
That's awesome. I like that you covered that. It's not the only way, it's a way. So something a little out of left field, I was thinking about as you were talking about that, and how the way it's designed, you can apply it to many different types of people. Ozzy, what say? Okay, I'm the person. I'm overweight. I throw every excuse in the book at you. To give you a little background here, the type of person that I would love to motivate towards fitness would more than likely not be walking through the front door of a gym. So
Right.
what are some things that you might say to a person like that, or show someone like that in order to help them and show them that anybody really can start somewhere and set fitness
Yeah.
goals for themselves.
Well, so I try to explain to people that even the smallest change makes a big difference. You know, in the trajectory of your life, in the whole totality of your story, the smallest amount of change can make you better, right? So simple things like trying to eliminate sugar in your diet or paying attention to what you're eating. You know, if it looks like a dead animal or if it looks like a plant, it's probably good for you. If it comes in a box and you have to read it to know what's in there, it's probably not good for you. You know, and those are simple principles that a person can apply, right? You know, and I know there's people out there that they won't get out and move. You know, there's people who do, they're busy, their lives are busy, you know, they're working and their work maybe is sedentary, so they don't have time or they think they don't have time. But the beauty of CrossFit is that through mathematics, we've found ways that you know, you can get a really good workout in CrossFit. I'll tell you right now, if anybody's out there want to see truly, do 7 minutes, as many repetitions as possible of burpees. You don't need equipment. You don't need to go nowhere. Do 7 minutes, as many repetitions as possible in your house of burpees, and you will breathe and sweat like you've never sweat in your life before. 7 minutes, no equipment, right there in your house. You don't have to go nowhere, don't need a gym membership for it, and so on. And truthfully, that's CrossFit is free. This is what I tell people. CrossFit is free. You can go to CrossFit.com and follow workouts and do them yourself with limited equipment. And just because it says do this thing with a barbell or do this thing with a dumbbell, the truth is you can grab a chair or a book bag in your house and do these movements. CrossFit.com especially has these videos on YouTube that show you how to do things. You know, so like if you don't know what a push-up is supposed to look like, you have a world-renowned Olympic gymnast, David Durante, showing you, you know, the correct movement pattern for a push-up. And actually, I tell soldiers, a push-up is actually a complex gymnastic movement. It requires a block of instruction, and most people don't know how to do it. But CrossFit is free in that sense, and you can get up off your couch and do anything that you need to do to get fit and get healthy.
I like it, man. I like it. I don't know if you've ever heard of a program called Les Mills. They do a lot of the group fitness classes for some of the gyms, and I went to one of them. I really liked it, and it'll if you're not used to it, it'll murder you.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
phenomenal, but I was like, wait, this is the army. You get in front of a bunch of people, you mirror them, and say a cadence with some music playing is the only difference.
Right.
I want to do that.
And then it's not individualized.
Yeah,
So the difference in CrossFit is don't be fooled by what you're watching. If you see a bunch of people working out together, they're actually moving at their own individual paces with individual goals. They probably have different weights on. You know, their body weights are different. So if they're moving their body, there's a scale right there. CrossFit has an acute ability to customize itself towards you. And then, you know, we're not selling anything. The coach is actually training you. And the longer you do CrossFit, the less you need somebody to show you. You know what I mean?
right. That's phenomenal. Uh,
But
so
there's something to be said for the group mentality when you have a camaraderie with a bunch of people and you have a community where everybody is involved. And I mean everything from small unit communities like inside your class, your hour in the gym, or a larger community like the whole gym, you know, every class throughout the day, or even a larger community throughout the world. You know, CrossFit's a global community. Everywhere I go, I'll find a CrossFit gym. I never had a problem. I'll go on vacation. So like back in July, I went on vacation in California. We went to Disneyland, and I was feeling kind of fat eating my daughter's birthday cake, and I said, I need to go to the gym. So there's a CrossFit gym right down the street from my friend's house. and anywhere you go. I lived in Korea for 2 years, and the CrossFit community in Korea is just as alive and fever pitched as in America, you know. In fact, you can go to YouTube and watch a video called The Story of Asia. And I'm commenting in there because I was a judge at a CrossFit Regionals about the community. There was no language barrier, and all of the gyms in all of Asia, everybody was like close and friends with each other. And I mean, I'm talking the entire continent.
Wow, that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
I think the guy you hooked me up with for Operation Christmas Care Package, Stephen Black.
Yes.
I don't know if he's still deployed or not because there's a huge time difference. But I saw some pictures and videos that he's doing it while he's deployed. So that was pretty awesome.
And I'll tell you, so you're seeing him now all built up. When I knew Steven, he was a very skinny young specialist. Oh yeah, and you know he was still fresh in the army, and he's a medic, and he was saying he's like I want to go and go special forces, and I want to go ranger and all this, and I say you can do it. I say if you believe you can do it, and that kid put his mind to it, because yeah, you can see in his videos he is fit, no question.
Yeah, that's awesome. That reminds me of me when I joined. I think I was 150 pounds, but then we all deployed. So let's see here. What I'd really love to know, Ozzy, is what is either your favorite workout or favorite exercise with CrossFit?
So I am pretty strong. People who know me know I can deadlift a lot and back squat a lot and stuff like that. And the things that I am not good at are the body weight gymnastic movements. And so I actually love body weight gymnastic movements because if it sucks, I go for it. I don't shy away from the things that I suck at. So if I had to choose my favorite thing to do, it's probably handstand push-ups or walking on my hands,
Oh
which,
man,
you know, when I first started CrossFit, I looked at the people who were doing those things and I was like, there's absolutely no way you're going to get me. When I started CrossFit, I weighed like 250 pounds. I was like, there's no way you're going to get me 250 pounds walking on my hands. You know, a few
right.
years later, here I am, a nice trim 220, sometimes 215, and I can walk on my hands. You know, so I love stuff like that. I love doing things that, you know, I didn't think I could do. I love doing things that I never thought it was even possible. And so, you know, I like to also do them to show other people that they can do it too.
Nice. That's awesome. So it's like taking on a new challenge, and every time you find
Yeah,
something that,
absolutely. And a lot of it is it's not about ego, you know, it's about making other people better. When once you're in CrossFit for a while, you start to learn that you know, CrossFit makes better people. It's not just about fitness. Like I said, it's about community, but also you learn to have integrity, you learn to push other people, and that you will be better if other people are better around you. Because you know, if your workout partners are good, you're gonna be good too.
nice. That's awesome. So help as many people as you can, and then you'll get better at it too, just as part of the process, so to
Absolutely.
speak. Okay. Um, so the next question I have is, where should someone start? So you're talking to somebody that's never done it. I'm new. I want to get started. Where do I go? What do I do?
So I always suggest for people to go to a gym where, you know, most gyms have a program called like a foundations or a ramp up where they can teach you movements and get you ready for a CrossFit class, because most people don't start directly into CrossFit classes. You have to ramp up to it. Like I said earlier, you know, there are people in the army for years and years, they've been doing push-ups and they don't actually know how to do a push-up. So truthfully, you can go to CrossFit.com. You can look at those workouts and you can just start doing them. Some of them at home and some of them in your local gym. And if you look at videos, there's instructional videos that tell you how to move. They tell you, the common points of failure, and they tell you the points of performance for every movement. But I highly suggest for people to go to the gym and let a coach train you how to do those movements. Unless you really know or you have a lot of experience, for example, in Olympic lifting or some gymnastics movements, it is true that you could hurt yourself. If I tried to pick up today and decide to do baseball with no training whatsoever, I could go out there and hurt myself if someone doesn't show me how to stand in the box without getting hit by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. You know what I mean? No matter what you do, you need somebody to show you. The best athletes in the world have coaches.
Right. And I remember when we ran the Army Marathon, Susan used to always tell us that it's better to run untrained than injured. And I don't know how many people actually know this. I'm sure the team did because I wasn't showing up to the practices because I had gotten out of the Army. But it was a struggle to get any training in whatsoever. And I ran that third Army Marathon with little to no training whatsoever, and I still finished because I wasn't injured. So I was like, oh man, she was right. It was so much fun.
I remember that. I was one of the coaches for the team that year.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. Yeah. I got out in January, and I think it was what was it, in March, I think? And I was like, yeah, I paid for it. I'm still gonna do it. So it was exciting because I got to do it with hair on my face that time.
Good stuff.
Um, so I think that's pretty much everything I got, Ozzy, as far as CrossFit goes. Um, any little nuggets or extra special advice you wanna bestow upon us before we start wrapping it up here?
Yeah, I think really what I would say is when people go out there and start researching, the best thing you can do is get information from the source. CrossFit.com they publish an article called the CrossFit Journal every month, and it has a lot of really good information. They take studies and they have some of the best writers in there, kind of breaking down the science of CrossFit. CrossFit.com also has YouTube videos that, like I said, explain all kinds of movement. And then the CrossFit trainers themselves, they're in it to make people better. The reason they became a CrossFit trainer is probably because they love people and they want to, make a difference in people's lives. So when they're out there researching CrossFit, you're gonna find some people out there, who are specialists in their individual sports. They're bodybuilders or they're power lifters or they're, whatever they are. They believe that they are the way. And like I told you before, there is no one way. Anyone who tells you that they are the only way, they're lying to you.
Okay. So I'm really excited for this because basically this video will live on forever on Facebook, but I'm also going to put it together with a little production value so that we can put it on YouTube because my primary goal with the Bearded Veteran is to reach out to people and make sure that they gain access to information like this. The things that you wish you knew 17 years ago when you first started. And I'm sure we all have them. So I'd like to just say thank you so much, Ozzy, for joining in. It's been a real pleasure, and I couldn't have done this without you. So we need experts. Anybody that
Absolutely,
has
brother. Thank
anything
you.
that want to bring them on, send people to this video or to the YouTube video once I get it put together. That way we can at least encourage the importance behind physical fitness, and you've touched on so many different benefits that it holds. So I'm really excited for this, and once again, I really, really, really appreciate your time, man.
I just remembered one more thing that if there's something else I want to put out. So yeah, CrossFit.com is a great resource, but there's two other resources out there that are really awesome, and that I can't go without saying if you want to know about nutrition, right? Because I'm a big boy, nutrition has been a big thing for me. Read about the Zone Diet by Dr. Barry Sears. Dr. Barry Sears did extensive studies into he was actually studying diabetes at the time that he figured all of this stuff out. But you can see YouTube videos where he does lectures, and he wrote some amazing books. Dr. Barry Sears is a great resource in nutrition. And then if you have limited range of motion or mobility issues, or maybe some lingering injuries, Dr. Kelly Starrett, he wrote a book called Becoming a Supple Leopard, which is considered like the Bible in CrossFit for mobility and flexibility. And he runs a website called mobilitywod.com, and he puts out a lot of great information for free on YouTube as well. If you've got some, lingering issue, you can find ways to get healthy. He has a theory that anything that a chiropractor or a physio can do for you, you should be able to do for yourself. And he does that through education, educating people how to take care of their own injuries.
Okay. I was writing and apparently not fast enough. So the Zone Diet, and you said the second one was Becoming a Supple Leopard?
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's mobilitywod.com. All right. I want to make sure I include some resources so people can just click on them instead of having to listen and then search. It makes it easier.
Perfect.
There we go. Well, brother, I do appreciate it. Once again, thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely.
I know you got a wife and 2 children and probably around 180 other children. So
Yes.
a piece of your time is very valuable to me, and I'm sure as well yourself. So thank you so much for joining in and just bringing all the expertise with you. I couldn't have done it without you because I barely know how to spell CrossFit. But thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I know we're gonna reach out and help many people. So I hope you have a
I
wonderful
hope so.
night.
I hope so. And if anybody has any questions, they can inbox me and I'll answer whatever there is. I'm a CrossFit Level 2 trainer. I've been doing CrossFit for almost 11 years now. I've been coaching for about 6. And I know a lot. I got a lot of resources. I can answer most questions, and what I can't answer, I'll send you somewhere.